When you Clippers from Baltimore, thank you Baltimore Clippers. Face off, fight for a Baltimore score. Defensemen, forwards, and goalie. We'll win with the jump for Baltimore and Maryland. Hey, Sandy. Clipper fan will shout, fight, fight, fight. When you Baltimore Clippers. When you hey, Knighton. Hey, Adrian. When you Baltimore Clippers and score. Get ready to take it up a half step. That arena is rocking. Hey, Dave. Get ready to take it up one more half step. When you Baltimore Clippers, when you Clippers from Baltimore, thank you Baltimore Clippers, and score, score, score. Ho, ho, ho. Boy, do we got a show for you guys tonight, and welcome aboard Vegas Rosie, America's first and only transgender sports betting handicapper and analyst. And right now we are in college football and pro football season, and we've got a lot to talk about. We've got, hey, Beacon Line, we've got money to make. And if you're one of those people that's lucky enough to have sports betting in your community, in your state, well, might be a chance for you to make a few dollars. Let's start by getting those thumbs up tonight and welcome you guys aboard for what's going to be an interesting night tonight. Full disclosure, we do have 8 bets working this weekend, of which the bet number 1 is in the book, and we are good on that. We're cashing on that. So 1 down and 7 to go. As we stand now, we are 12 wins and 5 losses for the season, which is pretty good for college football. Okay, thank you, Beak Along. So I think over time, more and more people that are into sports betting and things will come along. We got some things to talk about. Let's talk about some weird and crazy shit first here. And it gets a little blue in here. Yeah, I can cuss once in a while, especially when I see a real load of horse shit out there in the world. And the first thing I want to talk about tonight is this story about a Utah student that was arrested for allegedly making nuclear bomb threats if his football team lost. Now, look, I'm all about college spirit and rah, rah, rah. If tonight you happen to see, as I did, the first 10 minutes of the West Virginia at Virginia Tech football game tonight, there's something very exciting about going into that stadium when you're the home team and people are fired up. They got their orange on, they're swaying back and forth, the smoke's firing off, the fireworks, the flames. It's a very daunting place to go to when you're a visiting team. Hey, North Carolina, it's a very it can be overwhelming emotionally when you go into a place that you know people don't like you and they want you to lose. Speak along. I'm talking about sports here tonight, so I'm going to ask you to not talk about that on here now. Okay, now let's talk about how crazy this is. I know the love of a football team, but could you imagine? I'm gonna nuclear bomb the place if my team loses, the Utah Utes. Right? Really? Really kind of insane if you ask me. And then I thought the other thing that happened today was, of course, Kent State, which is the boss's alma mater, Kent State University in Ohio. The Kent State Golden Flash are going to be playing
the Ohio State universities this weekend. And the coach, now, Kent State's a 46.5 point underdog in the game, obviously. And the coach says he's awestruck by Georgia's talent. Now, can you imagine with name, image, likeness these days? And yes, college football players can be paid today if they are that good. So you can imagine how much money Georgia players are pulling down to be that that team that's the be all and end all of college football. And do you think anybody's being paid on Kent State's team? No. Okay. But they still have to go out there and give it a good try on Saturday. And this shows you the inequities, the inequality of college football. That you can have a team like Georgia that's a pro level squad. They could hold their own, I think, against some pro football teams. And they're going to play basically an extended high school team in Ohio there. Are they going to win? It's absolutely assured. Are they going to win by 46.5? Who in the hell knows? Nobody really knows that going forward. But my point is, there's no parity in college football like there is in the NFL. How you doing, Kenneth? And because of that, therein lies our opportunity as sports bettors to capitalize on that. And I tell people once again, in my opinion, and these are just my opinions, and I got a mouthpiece on me like all these other mofos that are having their talks and predictions coming up for the weekend. It's not which team's going to win or lose. It's who's going to beat the spread. That's how you make the money. Listen to some of these analysts, and it's all about who's going to win the game. It's not going to put money in your pocket. Okay, you're going against the sharpest minds in the world. How you doing, Tio? You're going against the sharpest minds in the world. The Chris down in the Costa Rica sports book, and you also have Pinnacle, which are the sharpest lines in the world, and then of course Las Vegas piggybacks on top of them. So you've got to have something pretty special if you're going to beat these guys, because they have the most statistics, they have the most money, they have the most people in the field that can gather information from inside the locker room, pay a little money to somebody to hear, maybe the quarterback's got a dislocated thumb. Right, they have all those resources, and yet you and I are going to match wits against them and try to take money from those books. And if we had parity like we have in the NFL, it would be a much harder proposition. But can it be done? I believe it can, because we're having our first pro sports bet this weekend. Everything up till now, we're 12-5, has been the college game, and it is off to a good start. But I don't think, guys, that you should talk about nuclear bombing if you don't win your football game, much less in Utah. Really, guys? It's like some people are they're foaming at the mouth. And I saw that tonight at Virginia Tech when West Virginia had to go into that stadium. And I beg you guys to look at the first 10 minutes or so of that live stream. It was an incredible night in Blacksburg, Virginia, like walking into the Lions Den there and seeing those students moving like a field of orange and swaying back and forth and loud as can be, and they're going in there like crazy, better than they ever were before. We're going to talk about Kentucky tonight, so please don't bomb your team. I think let's talk first about West Virginia. The West Virginia Tech game concluded tonight, which I thought was a gift for people, a 2.5 point line. And the thing that I can't understand about a lot of analysts and sports pickers and pros that do this day in and day out is they can look at a team like West Virginia that has a good quarterback, has a pretty solid offense, kind of a shaky defense, and they can look at a team like Virginia Tech that has zero offense and a fairly good defense, and somehow they can project that this should be a 2.5 point spread between these teams. And I'm looking at that and I'm scratching my head. You know, Virginia Tech's played Old Dominion, and you know, West Virginia's had to play Pitt and get down in Pittsburgh. I mean, there's something to be said for pedigree, just like we say in horse racing, right? It's the class that you're running in. And the 33 to 10 score tonight, West Virginia, shows you can try to project it. Maybe this team's defense will rise to the occasion. And the thing I noticed where a lot of people are going, they're projecting what they hope might happen in the game. They hope that Virginia Tech's defense can rise to the occasion and limit West Virginia, which they kind of were able to do in the first half tonight. I think it was 10-7 or something like that in favor of Virginia Tech. But over the course of a game, pedigree is going to win out in the teams that you play. And say what you will, West Virginia has grabbed their balls every week and gone out there and played a tough schedule. And tonight they picked up the win to go 2-2. No shade to Virginia Tech, but if you don't have an offense that can move the ball, then I'm sorry, it's just not gonna work out for you. Okay. Having said that, now let's get the odds board up here. We also had the other games tonight. We had Coastal Carolina and Georgia, which I didn't really get involved in that. Let's see, where in the hell is that? Yeah, we had Coastal Carolina 41 and Georgia State 24. Coastal Carolina's been pretty good. And then we had the Illinois, the Fighting Illini against Chattanooga. And if you've seen, as I've followed Illinois closely, because we got backdoored by Indiana, I think on this one, on the first week, Indiana's got a pretty well, maybe it was the second week. Indiana's got a pretty good team. Good quarterback, pretty good solid defense, and they only got nipped by Indiana. And I think that they're going to continue to have a decent year. Let's see what you got here. Are you still going to run? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about football tonight, North Carolina. Okay, so let's get open here. Okay, your comments are most welcome. Yeah, I saw you, Beak Along. I'm not going to donate money to anybody. Sorry. So if that's your intention tonight, it's not going to happen. I don't know you from anybody, so I just don't give my money away like that. Okay, so let's look at the let's get the odds boards open here, and let's get down to this. Don't bomb your stadium. Okay, don't do something stupid like that. Okay. Maybe we'll start with Pro Ball first, because we do have our first pro bet coming this weekend. Okay, let's let that load a minute. We've got Houston at Chicago, which is a Sunday 10 a.m. game coming up, and I think that a lot of people have panicked in Chicago about Fields, the quarterback. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? A lot of people have commented about the fact that Chicago quarterback, and Chicago is not a very good team. They did beat the 49ers in the opening game, but you know, it was kind of a sloppy rain game, and people told me, oh, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, they're not the same. But they are playing the Houston Texans. They are playing in Chicago. And I think that they have a chance. The spread is 3 points on that, and Chicago is favored by 3 points. I think that I'm not betting on it. I'll tell you what the one we have. We only have one pro bet going down this weekend. But I think probably Chicago at home will be able to get the job done. Although Houston is a solid mid-level team. They're not elite, but they will give a good game. Las Vegas at Tennessee here. The Raiders 2.5 point favorite here to the Tennessee Titans. Heartbreak Hotel in Vegas, guys, and Raiders, you better grab your nuts. because you got another game coming up this weekend with the Tennessee Titans, and of course the Raiders. If you saw that ugly finish to that game, you saw that ugly ass finish to that game where the Cardinals were parading in front of the fans at the end zone when the game was over, and the Raiders fans in Vegas are throwing water bottles and stuff at them. Yeah, this is the Raiders. This is the black hole, man. You don't come in there and taunt the team because you won. So I really believe that this weekend, I think that the Raiders could really be fired up here, and I just have a feeling mentally they just need to beat the hell out of somebody because it ain't been a good year for them so far. So I think that Tennessee Titans are coming along at the right time. So I would think that line is pretty good for that one. Kansas City, Indiana. This one really shocks me. This one shocks me. You got a team that's a perennial Super Bowl contender, divisional champions, Kansas City Chiefs, probably one of the 3 greatest quarterbacks in the whole NFL. And they're only a 5.5-point favorite at Indianapolis against the Colts. Now, mind you, the Colts got shut out by the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-0 last week. Now, I've said before when the season began that Jacksonville is not the team that you remember from your years, last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. Okay, they are a much improved team this year, but to send Kansas City as only a 5.5-point, not even a touchdown favorite in this, and the line is steaming now, meaning the line was like 6.5 points. Now it's 5 points for Kansas City. Okay, in other words, the margin is shrinking because people were putting more money onto Indianapolis here. This is one of these things that I cannot understand when it comes to sports betting. Kansas City's not played a lousy game. Indianapolis has played a lousy game. Granted, they're going to be playing in Indianapolis in the Dome, but why should that affect Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs game? They are an elite, what's up, Anton? Hey, Darry D. They are an elite level football team. And when you have an elite level football team that is less than 7 points favorite against a mediocre to middling football team, I will take that bet. Okay. Ward says, I got lucky in the NFL game tonight when Cleveland pounced on the ball with 9 seconds to over 41 again. Yeah, thank you, Ward. Yeah, we did nail the West Virginia at Blacksburg for Virginia Tech. Very, very scary place to play football, and unusual to have a Thursday night. Hard to bounce back from Saturday games and stuff, but they did it tonight. So, guys, Kansas City. I think Kansas City is going to be all over Indianapolis, and I think you're getting a better deal than I did because Mr. Z, who does the bets for our conglomerate here, we were cheering because we got 6 points in that. Okay, and now that is 5.5 points that he's come down. Okay, so that is what we're going to be riding on. Our only pro game of the Buffalo and Miami, man. After the Tua, the quarterback, this guy's got some kind of balls and some kind of skill set. Okay, this guy can put the ball on target 40, 50 yards, 60 yards down the field, no problem. He picked the Ravens' shitty secondary apart, turned a 21 to 28 to 7 or something ridiculous Ravens margin into victory. I said 2 games ago that Miami is going to be an elite level team this year. Buffalo is an elite level team. This to me is a game that I think that you can just, how you doing, pocket change, that you could lose money on and get no glory out of it. You might have bragging rights that you picked the Bills in Miami. You might have bragging rights that you picked Miami at home against the Bills. But with a 5.5 point spread, with two dynamic and excellent teams proven, right? They have both played quality teams, no weakness in the schedule. These are the games that I, as a bettor, steer off of. And if you're, yeah, Tyreek and Waddle, and if you are a sports bettor, and I'll just put this plug in now, and I'll say this: if you are a sports bettor and you're betting every single game, unless you're doing a ridiculously cheap parlay or something like that, and there's some guy did 25-team parlay last week and cashed out before the end. He would have won $1 million, but he took $250,000. But let me tell you, you're a fucking degenerate. All right, if you're doing that, I'm sorry. I think over the long haul, it's games like this that you're not going to get an edge on, because you've got two very dynamic teams that are coming in. Buffalo is much more defensively oriented, so I guess I'd lean towards them. But Miami is so explosive, okay, that you just don't know how that's going to turn out. Pass, okay? Don't, if you think you have to bet every day, go get help, okay, or every game. All right, Detroit, Minnesota. Minnesota was really disappointing last week. I had them as an elite level team in 2022 and 2023. In my opinion, they could still come good, but man, they looked like raggedy ass mofos on the field last week in that loss. Now, will they bounce back against Detroit? Detroit's kind of a quality team this year. Are they elite level? Home dog will take that court. Okay, PC, but I'm not in the gambling business. All right? And you have just as much chance to lose on that game as to win. But I'm telling you, the Tigers are looking like a much better team this year. So will Minnesota bounce back? The line says -6. They should bounce back on that. And they are playing in Minnesota. But I have a feeling that may have damaged their psyche, that game last week. And Detroit, this might be a statement game for Detroit coming up this week. Baltimore and New England, I don't know. The Ravens. How do you feel when you go to a locker room, you were up 28-7, and you just got your nuts handed to you on a platter at home? Because you have a secondary that's like getting more run through than the hoe on the corner of Tropicana Avenue in Vegas. You got a secondary that can't even put arms up in the air. You got a secondary that can't even keep up. Hey, night, AJ. With these wide receivers for Miami, and this to me just looked like Baltimore's picking up right up where they left off with a shitty pass defense. And let's face it, Miami came out in the second half and they capitalized on that. All right, it was a tale of two cities, and at the end, the Ravens were sucking ass on that. So this was a bad hit to their psyche. And I mean, Lamar Jackson had a great game. Rushed for over 75 yards, throwing the tater, doing good, but the defense just pissed it away. And don't forget, guys, in this gal's opinion, whatever the hell they tell you, offenses put asses in the seats, but defenses put Super Bowl trophies on the shelf. Okay? So it doesn't matter what Lamar Jackson does. It matters what that Ravens defense does, because they've proved that twice in their history. When they won their first Super Bowl, and it was all defense. And then they won their second Super Bowl under Joe Flacco. It was all defense. Okay? Defense wins Super Bowls. Defenses get you to championship level games. And even a lousy Midland quarterback with a team that has enough takeaways, positives on turnovers, can be in there. Again, Colts have only scored 20 points in 2 games. And Ward, I do not understand how the Chiefs can be a 5-8. The line, they're steaming. They're steaming to the Colts. I might have egg on my face when I see you guys Sunday night. But I'll tell you. Okay, so I think New England could surprise here. I think that their quarterback and I think that their pass game is, I think they'll find some holes. Is Baltimore going to put up some points? Yeah. But again, it's not a game that I would bet in this one. So Cincinnati and the New York Jets, you got to go with Cincinnati. It's 6 points on that. I think Flacco struck lucky last week. I mean, the Jets defense was, what do they have, a pick? 1 or 2 picks, a couple fumbles or something like that. So the defense came up pretty good for them last week. It's not going to be the issue. Cincinnati's not going to be goofing up the ball this weekend. Cincinnati, stay away from. I think the game, I don't know. I don't think it's a trap game. I would back Cincinnati -6 on that because, yeah, maybe the Jets defense keeps them in, but I can't see 6 points. And I can't see Flacco. I'm sorry, but Cincinnati's got a pretty good rush. And I think Flacco's got very heavy legs. He's only a pocket passer, and he just can't make a play good once it gets busted. Okay, the same rap that I always had against whatever hell the quarterback for San Francisco back in the day. They can't even think. Colin Kaepernick. When the play went bad, his brain just shut off. Okay, I don't think Flacco has the ability to stand up to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's kind of getting crapped on this year, right? And I think they're getting kind of tired of it. And I think that this could be a pasting coming up. New Orleans at Carolina, 2.5 points either way. New Orleans is a favorite, 2.5 points. I don't have any problem. Yeah, defense wins championships. Exactly. And I don't think that the Jets defense is that great. The Ravens picked them apart. Okay. Show me where they're an elite defense. All right. I'll take Cincinnati's defense. I think Cincinnati's had a tougher schedule opening and stuff. So Philadelphia at Washington, 6.5 points for the Eagles at the Commanders. This is another win that I think the line is a little too tight on this game. Based on what I saw, Washington Commanders last week, they look pretty raggedy-ass to me. Okay? They look pretty raggedy-ass to me, and I'm just going to say it. And I'm telling you, Philadelphia has now advanced to almost an elite level team for 2022 and 2023. Ravens down, Philadelphia Eagles up. It looks like they're going to be reaching elite level status this year, the Eagles. And I don't think Washington is going to be able to run with them this weekend. And I don't care if it's in Washington, Honolulu, or fucking Beijing. I don't care. Yeah, there's the one. We're instructing tonight, okay? Jacksonville and the LA Chargers, 7 points. Chargers favored by 7. Over under 47 points. This game is going to be a chance for Jacksonville to show if they've got what it takes to run with the big boys. Because let's face it, pocket change, Ward, this is not the Jaguars of last year, the year before that. They look like a pretty damn solid football team. Okay. I am not going to bet the game, but I'm going to be watching very closely to see if Jacksonville can hang with an elite level team. Hey, Joshua. Because let's face it, the Chargers are an elite level team. Had a couple bad breaks this year. But their bad break was playing Buffalo. It was all right. So if Jacksonville can hang in this game, I've got some betting material going forward for the year. So it's one of those ones that I circle. I did not, Joshua. I was on the West Virginia at Virginia Tech game tonight. We had money down on that tonight, so I was babysitting them down in Blacksburg, Virginia tonight. Okay, let's see what Jacksonville does, because I think that you can make some money on this team going forward. Atlanta at Seattle, 1 point. I can't believe that Atlanta is a 1 point dog to Seattle. I just think their offense is more dynamic. And I really expect that I would not be surprised if Atlanta won this game. I know they're playing in Seattle. It's a terrible place to play. But I think Atlanta can keep their wits about them. And I think that they're capable of winning this game. Do you have a prediction of who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? My gut tells me that the Buffalo Bills may end up playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, my gut kind of leads that way. That's how impressed I've been with the construction of the Philadelphia Eagles football team. We knew Buffalo was going to be great, but now we got Philadelphia making this statement here. Right. Okay. Let's talk Green Bay, Tampa Bay. 1 point either way. You guys pick it. Do you like two old guys chucking the tater around? Yeah, Jacksonville's defense is not bad this year. I mean, who do you want to win? You want Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? Come on. I'll just say, who's the bigger douchebag? Aaron Rodgers. Did you hear his post-game press conference last year? I'm a fucking old man playing with kids out here. Of course I'm tired. Tampa Bay's fierce, man. Get it through your skull. All right. Whenever Tom Brady's on the field, you got a damn good chance of winning the game. And I just have a feeling that Tampa Bay is going to crush Green Bay's skull in this week in Tampa Bay. I think I'd be on that Tampa Bay and laying the 1 point against Green Bay on that. I'll check in a few weeks and see what is still got the same change. Yeah, okay, Joshua. It's still early on. I haven't put a ton of time into NFL because it's opposite of college football. Now, what do I mean when I say that? At the pro season, you're betting a pig in the poke. In the college season, I think you have a better chance of making money. Not necessarily who's going to win or lose, but I think you have more screwed up lines early on in college football. So you pick the low-hanging fruit. And I think in pro ball, it gets easier as you go along to make better bets because teams have more or less established themselves. And yet there's the hangover of this is on any given Sunday, any team can win. So we can't be bigger than 7 points on the line. And that opens up a lot of possibilities for teams that can literally go in and blow another team out. Okay? With sports betting, we need to be careful how wise people pick the right team who cover. And that's the winner. I have so many people that, how do you feel about Baltimore Ravens? Same problem as last year, Joshua. More holes out there than the hose on Tropicana Avenue in Vegas, baby. In that secondary, more slots to fill out there than the Vegas hose, I'm just saying. Till you cure that secondary, every team that comes to town is just going to be feasting on the passing game. Tua and the Miami Dolphins, they set the table. They rolled the game film, right? Ravens are going to have to grab their nuts and stiffen up out there somewhere, because they just weren't getting a job. One game suspension may make the difference, okay? But I was saying, PC, if it was picking winners, we'd be on the money line. We'd be laying $10,000 on Alabama to win, or on Georgia to win $100 against the fucking Akron Zips or something. All right, I mean, Kent State Golden Flash. But we know that's not the way that you bet over the long haul, because sooner or later you're going to get your ass handed to you, and you're never going to recover that $10,000. All right? Yep. Okay, good night, Flan. Yeah, prediction who's going to be the top 4 teams. Yes, I do. And we're going to get to college football in a bit. All right? Because things are really rounding into form. You got teams on the rise. You got elite teams. You got teams breaking into elite level here. And we're going to see a team this weekend have a hell of a game that's going to maybe open the door for the first time in years to put them in elite level status. Anybody want to guess who that is in the college ranks? So, Green Bay, Tampa Bay. I think that Tampa Bay is going to give Aaron Rodgers fits this weekend. Hey, Coyote. When taking bets, use a blackboard. You can erase the evidence fast. Yes. Well, also your bankroll tells you how you did. So, okay. Los Angeles Rams against Arizona. Rams favored by 3.5. No. Trap game here. Okay. If you saw the Cardinals and the Raiders, you saw the Cardinals team kind of come into their own. All right, they were celebrating at the end zone at the end of the game, and the Raiders fans are throwing bottles and shit at them, and popcorn and hot dogs, and one guy even slapped the Cardinals quarterback or something in the seats. Sometimes I can tell I got an eye, and I can see that suddenly.
Good night, Rosie.
Good night, Bird. I can see that suddenly the burner flipped on like a fucking barbecue grill. And this team is not the same team as it was when the game started. Okay? And I saw that in the Cardinals, and that offense smoking. Okay, so I think this could be a trap game. This 3.5 points. The Rams have already lost once this year. This is not the Rams with the same team as last time. How do you feel about the Denver? We're going to get to that, Joshua. Okay. And it's going to be interesting. That's one of the most interesting things, in my opinion, and these are just my opinion, on the card this week. So I think that Arizona getting 3.5 points could be a really interesting. I'd feel comfortable. Because I think it's all said and done, it'd probably come down to a field goal, and I think that they can cover 3.5 points. You got some coverage on that, okay? I think that's kind of a gift to you. But we'll see how much egg I have on my face when the Rams kick ass. I don't know. But just remember, Matt Stafford had one good year. This guy's been up and down like a freaking greased yo-yo, all right? So I'm saying this Arizona team almost looks like a college team in their excitement and stuff. Okay, let's talk about San Francisco at Denver. I'm sorry, man, I can't get excited about Denver. All right, everybody was all at the beginning of the year, ooh, this is going to be an elite level team. San Francisco is going to be an elite level team. And you say, oh no, Rosie. The kid got whacked last week, right? They carried him off the field. He got his ass chewed up. They put a hit on him, carried him off in a blow-up boot or whatever. They got a guy that can come in. Well, number one, what puts Super Bowl trophies on the shelf? Defense. Say it again. Defense. When I think about the Ravens, when they had Flacco as a quarterback and they had Ray Lewis and a great defense, I see some similarities here with the San Francisco defense that is tough as nails. It finally beat the living hell out of the Seahawks. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a very accomplished journeyman quarterback. And when Trey Lance got carted off, I did not wish ill for Trey Lance, but I said to myself, driving up the road from LA, I said, Jimmy's going to win this game. And he just took command of the game, and he did it. To me, it's kind of an upgrade. It was like a gift. If you're a Niners fan, you're like, hey, kid, take a vacation to fucking Hawaii and go to China for a year. Get on the Queen Mary. We'll pay you for a year. We'll send you on a trip around the world. See you next August. With this defense, better than the last time that the Niners went to the bowl, went to the playoffs and stuff. With this defense, coupled with this journeyman B-rated quarterback, confidence, Jimmy G stepped into that game and just took over. Okay, so I think I would definitely lay the 1.5 points with San Francisco in this game. Anybody have any opinions on that? Dallas at the New York Giants. I hate them both. Just kidding. Poor Dallas. I don't know what to tell you guys. I just can't think about that. Okay. Yeah, the kid was crumpling in the pocket. I got nothing. And of course, Cleveland won tonight against Pittsburgh. That was the line was 4.5 on that. You were laying 4.5 to take Cleveland. They won by 12. More than covered that tonight. So if Dallas prevails, I don't really have an opinion. It's a flip a coin. When you see something that's +1, -1, it's a bookmaker's dream because they're just taking the vig out of the middle of both sides, and they've got good balance on the line. They don't have to worry about. They don't have to worry about it. That's why people tell me, oh man, you could get shut out by the book. The book might not take people's business. There's not a book in Las Vegas that won't take a pro football bet. Okay, find me a book that will bar you from making any size of, reasonable size $20,000 bet on the game. They got parity, man. They're not worried about your bet, but go try doing that in college football or college basketball, and they'll think that you know something. Let me get the manager out here. He's going to take a look in your eye. Have you been here before? I don't recognize you. So what do you want to do? You want to buy the hook. You want to put $20,000 on Penn State and Ohio State. No, we're not going to take that bet. Yeah, point shaving and all that. Not the NFL. Maybe in college ball. No, nobody's shaving. No points, Carlos, in the it ain't gonna happen in the NFL. They'll book any bet anywhere. They don't give a shit. They have so much money. They're so good at setting these lines and getting the action on both sides. They don't give a shit. Okay, that's the only sport that you can go to Vegas and put basically any size bet down, and they'll book it for you. For another sport, baseball, they'll think you know something. But they know when you come in for college football, there's no way you know more than the people that set the line. So they're happy to take that. I think it's very, very interesting. Let's get over to college football. As I said when we opened tonight, we've now advanced to 12-5 on the year. We cashed another bet tonight. We had West Virginia. We took we laid the ridiculous 2.5 points. Again, you listen to some of the analysts today, and I like some of them. You know, Kelly Stewart is beautiful. I mean, I get a lot of information. I listen to a lot of people, but don't project greatness on a team that hasn't demonstrated it. In other words, when West Virginia's gone down to play the Hokies, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, man, look at this. Look at the schedule that Pitt's played. Man, they've played Tennessee. Right? I mean, West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia played Pitt. I mean, they just have a very strong quality. You know, they've been playing the toughest teams out there. I think they had one non-conference gimme, but the point is, what did Virginia Tech do? They had their up to their ass in Old Dominion and stuff, and then the analysts today are talking like, you know, all of a sudden, ooh, Virginia Tech's going to rise up like the Great Pumpkin. Yeah, they got a good defense, but they got no offense. Right? They generated one touchdown and one field goal today. Okay, and people, well, this is going to be it. They're gonna stop West Virginia tonight. Yeah, they stopped them for half the game. And then West Virginia came out and curb stomped them the second half. Okay, do not project. Well, I think that they could do this tonight. I think they could step up tonight. They're excited to be at home in Blacksburg. They've been 5-0 against the spread the last 5 times they've played West Virginia. I don't give a shit. This stuff of this, you know, I just think suckers listen to this stuff. It's all past history. It's like I told you before, when a roulette wheel hit on red 6 straight times. So now we got to bet on black. Hey man, it's a 50-50 chance every time the ball rolls. Okay? So I'm just saying, man, don't project something that the team has not shown. 2.5 points for a team that went toe-to-toe against Pittsburgh and almost won except for a last play pick? Did they play Kentucky too? Am I right or wrong? Did they play Kentucky? I think, and they just barely lost that one. All right, let's stop bullshitting and get down to football here for NCAA. University of Virginia at Syracuse. Here's another. Virginia's 2-1. Syracuse is 3-0. I just can't get excited for Virginia, especially when you're going into Syracuse to play in the Dome. I mean, I'm sorry, Virginia is just not of the same caliber as Syracuse is. Now, I know 10 points, but I think that Syracuse can comfortably cover that 10 points because I think that Syracuse is a very, very dynamic team. And I think they're going to have the ability to possibly roll up the score on Virginia. Let me see something here. Let me check something here. Let's see something. Yeah, I just think what they've played and what they've done. Yeah. Okay. Hey, James. So I'd be very comfortable laying the 10 points with Syracuse at home against Virginia. Nevada Air Force. What the fuck happened last week against Wyoming? How you doing, Garrett? What the hell happened? Right, the wheels just came off the Air Force cart. They lost like 19-17 or something, as I recall, after they had rolled over the Golden Buffalo of Colorado the week before. I'm sorry, I don't think that. I think Air Force is now relegated to mediocre status this year. The over's 53.5 for Syracuse. I'm sorry, Ward. I can't see. Unless it's going to be like 40 to something. All right. I don't see Virginia. No, I'm not betting with my heart. I'm telling you, we made money on Air Force against Colorado. Okay, we didn't bet Air Force against Wyoming because, well, Wyoming is not Colorado. Plus the spread was something crazy like 17.5 points or something. You know, when we picked Colorado, we knew we could comfortably cover that spread, and they won like 40-10 or something like that. But playing Wyoming, they lost. All right, so is Nevada shitty? Yeah, they are. They lost to Incarnate World. Didn't they? Incarnate Word. Be careful, these religious schools, they just jump up and bite you in the ass, right? So I'm not going to touch that game. You know, it's nothing would shock me anymore, although I certainly think Air Force on that would, you know, I think that they should. Yeah, Incarnate Word is a college. And they beat Nevada, and I'm like, where in the hell are they? I had to go look it up. They have a team? I mean, shit, man. There's 133 teams out here. Boise State, University of Texas, El Paso, 16.5. I think we picked up this at 15.5 here, BS Boise State. Yeah, it's not the Boise State of old, but they're not a bad team. University of Texas, El Paso. Here's another thing the analysts are talking today. Oh, they get to play at home, and you cannot project values and attributes to a team that they've not shown. In other words, if a team gets their ass kicked one day and they're a good team like the Ravens, I'm not going to automatically just, hey, they're going to be shit the rest of the year. I'm going to give them a bounce back. But when you're UTEP and you're already 1-3 on the year, and you have a Boise State team coming in, it's not the greatest. What's up, Luce? It's not the greatest in the world. It's not the Boise State that it used to be. But do I think Boise State can put up some points? Yeah. Do I think Boise State has a superior defense to UTEP? Yeah, I do. So I'm not going to be, it's just like the West Virginia Tech game tonight. I'm not going to project greatness onto a Virginia Tech team that showed nothing. All right? Yeah, Raiders lost in overtime, and they practically had a riot at the end zone with the Cardinals team. And the quarterback got slapped by somebody in the Raiders stands. Don't celebrate at the home field of your losing opponent. That guy got smacked upside his head down there. Okay, so yeah, we took. I'm not uncomfortable with the Boise State. You know, big lines don't scare me off if they're at least middle to slightly above average teams playing piss poor teams. Buttercup, baby. Honey, I told you West Virginia would do it tonight, and they did it. Okay. Boise State Broncos. What is that? 3-2-1 set. I don't know what the hell that is. Let me get something to drink here. I want to get a soda. We're doing good. It's good to see you, Luce. Yeah. I don't know. I can only have so much interest as I go down on that Coastal Carolina. I think they were favored. I don't know what the spread was on that. All right. Clemson and Wake. Wake is like a shaky 3-0 to me. I've watched a few of the game reels on them. They're like a week 3-0. Okay, and I think that Clemson, I mean, it's a 2.5 point. No, it's a 7.5 point. Clemson's you're laying 7.5 points with Clemson minus 2.5. You're laying 7.5 points with Clemson. That's a pretty big number. You got two cocks of the walks here. 7.5 points. I think Clemson is going to win. I don't know if they're going to cover this spread here, because they're playing at Wake. And I think that gives you a little something down there. But I think Clemson has better, two cocks of the walk. I think Clemson has better athleticism. I think they have better coaching. And I think that they have a chance of advancing farther in the scheme of things this year than Wake Forest does. So I'm not going to bet that game. Okay, but I will say, I don't know what the money line, it wouldn't be too bad. Minus 275 on the money line for Clemson. I could probably live with that. All right, but I don't really do money line bets and all that. So Baylor and Iowa State by 2.5 here. Baylor's a tough team. I watched their game against BYU, triangulating a little bit. I think Iowa State can. I think Iowa State 2.5 points you lay to take Iowa State. I'm not betting it, but I think that they probably have a good chance in that game. Who was here was talking about KU. Somebody here was talking about Kansas. Duke is traveling to, Iowa State's been playing good. Duke has absolutely razzle-dazzled me this year. Knowles, I can't remember who in the hell the coach is there. Leonard is the quarterback. And I wanted to hate this team at the beginning of the year when they were going for Temple. We've only had 5 losses this year, which one of them was the Temple Duke game. But man, I have been impressed with the total turnaround of the Duke program. And Duke is a 7-point dog going in to the Jayhawks. There's some people that say the Jayhawks are going to regress to the mean, that they're good. They've had a burst of greatness, and they're going to start, because they came out of nowhere. They weren't expected to be great this year. They surprised the shit out of people. And here comes a Duke team that was, maybe they go 5-5 or something, or right. I mean, who in the hell is this coach? I forget. Is this guy? This guy should go to Nebraska, right? He'd probably turn that fucking program around over there, right? Duke's been playing good, and I don't think Duke has the shakes. I don't think that they're going to be rattled going into Kansas. I'm not betting the game, but it's going to be interesting to see because it has a chance. This game allows me a chance to make money on Duke going forward, depending on how they're doing here. Okay, I'm not betting the game. Yeah, KU should win it, but don't be surprised. Upset alert. If Duke goes in there and at least covers that spread, I'm not going to be surprised. Are they elite level? KU could be, but I don't think Duke is elite level. But I think that they can give them a good game. But I'm surprised. I don't know, Luce, if you think that line's a little tight at 7. It's like I'm pleased to see that Duke's getting a ton of respect at 7 points. They've been pretty solid, defensively and stuff. And I think that they're super smart. Their coaching is pretty damn good. So, yeah. So I'm gonna be checking that game out too. Maryland at Michigan, gonna be a tough game. I think last year Maryland got blown out. Yeah, Mike Elko is wonderful. What a coach. They're going to have an easy time recruiting and building up that program down there again. Maryland and Michigan, you got two pretty decent teams, both coming in 3-0, but there's still, I think, a world of difference between Michigan and Maryland. 17 points, that's a big line. That's a lot of points. And I don't think, Maryland just beat SMU, which is not a dog-ass team. Traveling to Michigan, it's going to be very hostile up there. But 17 points is a hell of a lot of points. I'm not betting it, but I wouldn't be uncomfortable taking Maryland and the points in that because, I mean, Luz, who's Michigan played? Come on, man. We don't even have any testing. We don't even have a litmus test. They played Hawaii. Come on, Ward. They played Hawaii. They played, I don't know, they played like, who in the hell? Who in the hell has Michigan played this year? Somebody tell me real quick. Ward, they opened in Hawaii. You tell me what their schedules looked like this year. They beat the hell out of Hawaii. Yeah, they played, what did they play? Akron. They played nobodies. How do we gauge Michigan this year? Look at Maryland. I mean, coming out of, they've... This is the first true team that Michigan's playing this year. I don't know what to expect. Are they going to roll up the score on Maryland? Well, Maryland's defense is not exactly great, but their offense is pretty damn productive. Yeah, the Connecticut Huskies. Come on, Ward. You got between Hawaii, Connecticut. Just tell me they played Massachusetts too, and you got the 3 worst teams in college football, right? So how do we measure Michigan this year? And yet they sit at number 4. Is it just me? I wouldn't lose any sleep. I'm not betting it, but I wouldn't lose any sleep taking Maryland into points in that game. It should be a fun game, but it's going to be the first true test that Michigan's had this year. Central Michigan. I've made money on these guys before on Oklahoma. Somehow, miraculously, they covered the spread. And Penn State University. Penn State's laying 20. You're laying 28 points if you take them. Central Michigan's one of those schools that can surprise you from week to week, right? They're a real pain in the ass team. They're like one of these second tier teams that you can't take them for granted when they come to town. And 28 points is a lot of points. So I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. Will they win the game? Yeah. Kent State at Georgia. Kent State Golden Flash. Yeah, Oklahoma State. Yeah. Kent State Golden Flash traveling to Georgia to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Talk about throw a fucking dog a bone, man. Even the coach of Kent State, I want to write this guy a letter and tell this guy, son of a bitch, man, don't kiss the other coach's ass. Don't sit there and, oh, we're so awestruck by the greatness of Georgia's team. Man, you didn't got Boy Scouts there. Grab your nuts and get in there and play some football. Don't be awed. It's like Ronnie Lott used to say for the 49ers, put a fucking hit on somebody, man. Make them think twice before they throw the ball into the secondary there, right? God. This stuff of elite teams, this is only going to get worse going forward. Right. How much do they have to pay Kent State to come in there and play? All right. $2 million or something? To see these guys get their ass chewed on like a raggedy ass bone. Tighten up, grab your balls, grab your nuts. Don't ever let me hear you saying you're in awe of the other team's talent. You're basically telling your own guys, you might as well stay home and call in sick. Okay? That's basically what you're telling. Let me get rid of this jit bag here. That's what you're doing. Let me get rid of this jit bag. There we go. All right. 45.5 points. It's just a question of how embarrassed is Georgia going to be to run up the score. I don't know. When do you call off the dogs, literally? It's not a game I want to touch. There's no money to be made on that game. Okay? Auburn, Missouri. I don't give a shit about that. I faded Auburn last week. Ooh, they're gonna rise up and really start looking good in the SEC. It's like, come on, man, don't project greatness on a team that hasn't shown it. Meanwhile, Penn State's going out and getting the job done. TCU, SMU, I got nothing on that. Nothing on that. That's a 2 point. That's a 2 point either way. South Florida, Louisville. 14.5 point Louisville. They better start getting it together. They broke my heart. I had money in the bank against Florida State. Right. Marching down the field, and Humphrey throws it. Pick six. You always remember your memorable. You always remember your memorable defeats, right? So Louisville, you done good, but you didn't get the job done. Okay, you left us limp that night. You should take South Florida, no problem there. 14.5 points. Temple and UMass. Who cares? You got two of the worst teams, and I can't get excited about that shit. UCLA and Colorado, 21.5 points. We know Colorado, right? Air Force beat the shit out. Everybody's kicking the shit out of them. UCLA is going to kick the shit out of them. Okay? If you think Air Force is kind of shaky, but they beat the hell out of Colorado. Well, UCLA is a better team than Air Force. So you do the math, you connect the dots. Okay. On that one, I would be on UCLA on that, no problem at all. Laying the 21.5. I'd be strutting to the cashing window. Bring it up, Charles. Notre Dame, UNC, North Carolina. 1.5 point. I don't know what to think about Notre Dame. They got a great defense. That's about all I can say for them this year. They barely snuck by Cal. Okay. They're hanging in there. Okay. But I do think I think they lose this week in Carolina. I don't think that they're going to be able to take them. I don't care about Miami. Golden Gophers and Michigan State. This is an interesting one here. As you know, you guys probably know the Golden Gophers of Minnesota have a very powerful offense. I think they lost some. I think somebody got hurt. One of their receivers or something is hurt right now. And Michigan State is they're just all around a tough team. You know, so he has that the ex-Texas coach. So Gophers you're laying 3 with the Gophers with Minnesota. They're playing at Michigan State. This is going to be a test of, I'm not betting it, but this is going to be a test of Minnesota to see if they're right at the door, maybe 1 quarter level down from getting an elite. Okay, we're going to see what happens here against Michigan State. Ooh, Florida and Tennessee. Tennessee, I love you. We've made money on you. We've made money on you this year. Tennessee is a tough team. And it might be the Gophers. I'm thinking this game, it's 10.5 points they're favored this game. This is the team that I think is reaching elite level status. I can tell you one thing, they're going to be in the SEC, okay? You will get your Georgia-Tennessee matchup. All right. They're playing in Knoxville. Tennessee is playing at home against Florida, and Florida has been like an EKG machine. Up and down. Well, they've been trending downward. Who did they play? University of South Florida. They just barely got by. Got shook up by South Florida or Central Florida. One of those fucking illiterate schools. Which one? I'll tell you. I think that I'd have no problem laying the 10.5 points and taking Tennessee. I just think this year they are super well coached. Hooker's a great quarterback, decent receiving core. They've been lucky to not have any big injuries this year, so I think that we don't have any money bet on it, but I think it's going to be an interesting game. That pretty much wraps it up. We did cash, so we're moving out to 12-5 now. We have 7 more games rolling this weekend. So there it is, and of course Illinois beat Chattanooga tonight. They did beat the spread on that. The spread was 20.5, came in 31. And Coastal Carolina, they were 2.5 point favorite. They really beat the line 41-24 over Georgia State. Well, that's a wrap. That's the way I see things going forward for week 3 in the NFL and week 4 for college football. Hey, may all your bets be great ones, and if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do so here. Make sure to share the streams out and tell your friends. America's first and only trans sports handicapper here. So thank you, everybody. Queenstown Kid, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, and I sure have a lot of fun talking sports with you. So grab your sack, get your bets in, It'll be a hell of a weekend, guys. Have a great one.